Hi there, it's Lon here from the parish of Central Saanich. I am preparing to preach for this coming Sunday, the second Sunday in Pentecost. There's some fascinating readings. We're moving into Matthew's Gospel, and this is going to be a journey we're on for a time. This week we're in the 9th chapter of Matthew's Gospel, and it's particularly about call, and I'm thematically forming my sermons for the next 4 to 6 weeks, I think, around the idea of call to vocation and stewardship. Now, we're all called to vocation. This is not particular to ordained people by any stretch. Matthew is good evidence of that. As Jesus walks along, sees Matthew, who's working as a tax collector, and he's in a booth where he's collecting taxes. And that was not the most reputable occupation at that time, because the tax collector literally profited off the excesses that he could collect from the individuals who had to pay one way or another. They had to pay. And so not seen as the most well-liked characters of the community. And yet Jesus walks along, simply says, "Will you follow me?" And Matthew gets up and follows. There's no debate. There's no long drawn out questionnaire by Jesus quizzing him about his perspective on numerous things. And, as we move into June, we're doing a variety of things. One of them is observing Pride Month, and we walk in solidarity with the folks for whom that's deeply significant and personal and important. And we walk with all as society changes and as we of the church change. And it's the 21st century, and change we must. I think that the deeper question of call, though, comes. There's also two women involved in Matthew's Gospel this week. One is the woman who had been hemorrhaging for 12 years and simply reached out to touch the hem of Jesus' garment. So in her case, she made this outward physical approach to Jesus and got his attention. And then there was a conversation that involved her rising up and moving along. And then there's the 12-year-old girl and Jairus' daughter. And again, Jesus says those beautiful words. They're not in this gospel, but we hear them elsewhere. Talitha cum, rise up. And so this young woman rises up and is healthy and had been believed dead. So it's an incredible and fascinating story. And I think the consistent theme in the stories is link to community. If you look at Matthew ends up being part of a gathering where Jesus dines with a whole group of tax collectors and sinners. And I think that there's a message for us in that. It's in that when we're called to come to know God or come closer to God, we bring friends along, we bring community, we bring family, and suddenly there's a gathering that's larger than ourselves. And that's the key, I think, to call. It's the key to vocation. It's the call to the love we can have for our church is knowing that it's bigger than us. Just as in our diocese, we've been in a series of inductions here in the last inductions to new ministry for ordained leadership, but it's always the induction of the parish into new ministry as well. And we've done 2 or 3 recently and one more coming up. Holy Trinity was last week, and as the Reverend Denise Dirksen was inducted, last night, the Reverend Alan Dirksen was inducted out at St. Philip Oak Bay. And then next Wednesday, the 14th at 7 o'clock at St. Michael and All Angels, the Reverend John Paris will be inducted. And you're all invited. We're part of something larger. As our bishop says to us, we together are the diocese, and we are part of this larger church. And I think that's the important thing about call generally. When we're called to come closer to Christ, we're called to do that with other people. So we're called to, yes, have a personal, private experience with Christ, but also to have it with friends, with community, with others who we maybe don't even know yet. I often love to pray for the folks we have yet to meet. So lots going on. We worship at 9 o'clock at St. Mary's on Sunday morning, and at 11:15 at St. Stephen's. We've got great music planned. We've got great hopefully a good message that you can relate to, and lots of excitement. So do come along. If you're hearing this from far away and that's not possible, I pray that God bless you this week and for all until we meet again. May God bless you and keep you close. Thank you for sharing with your time with us today.